Coming up next, a show about making the most of the holidays both inside and out. It is really cold out here. You know, nothing quite says it's the holidays like a beautiful blanket of snow and the aroma of fresh evergreens. Well, what we're going to do today is take a look at some decorating tips both for the exterior, the garden, and the interior of your home. In today's show, we're going to visit a local Christmas tree farm and learn the best way to choose and care for a fresh tree. I'm also going to show you how to make this easy herbal bath blend that makes a wonderful gift. Plus, if you decorate your house with fresh greenery, I'll show you the best way to keep it fresh during the holiday season. We'll also check in on my web designer, Caleb, who's busy planting bulbs. And don't forget about this delicious recipe. So as you can see, we've got a lot to cover in today's show. But first, what I'm going to do is go find a saw so I can cut the bottom of this tree off. It really does help to cut about 2 inches off so it'll start taking up moisture while it's in the house. So with Angel, we're going to go find that saw and get started with the show. We can't talk about the holidays without talking about Christmas trees. If you're like me, you prefer a live tree, and there are a few things you want to keep in mind. Randy Motley is the owner of Motley's Christmas Tree Farm, and he shows us how to choose the best tree and how to properly care for it when brought into your home.
You know, there's nothing wrong with cutting a real tree to use as a Christmas tree. All of these trees on this farm and all other Christmas tree farms are grown to be cut. I guess there's a misconception that Christmas tree farms come from the forest, but that's not where they come from. All Christmas trees are grown on farms to be cut. If people weren't using cut trees, then there'd be millions and millions of trees that would not be grown because of it. All the trees we grow are evergreens. We grow Virginia pine, which is the first tree we started out with. About 25 years ago, Virginia pine was the only tree thought to be producible in Arkansas and commercially. It's a little bit difficult to make a Christmas tree out of it. It has to be forced into a Christmas tree shape through a lot of handwork, pruning, and trimming. About 15 years ago, we started growing Leyland cypress, and it has kind of become the new Christmas tree of the South. Leyland cypress is also trimmed several times a year, but it has more of a candle flame shape just naturally. So it's a much easier tree for us to make into a Christmas tree with a minimum amount of shearing and trimming. A lot of people choose a Leyland cypress because it appears to be somewhat hypoallergenic. We have people with allergies that can't use other trees that come back year after year to get a Leyland cypress. They say that's the only tree they've been able to use. So it's a good tree for us for that reason. We also grow Carolina sapphire, which is a Arizona cypress. It seems to be a drought-hardy tree, so it's working well for us on our farm in areas that we can't irrigate. This is the first year we've sowed them on our farm. It has kind of a bluish-gray look, a very aromatic smell, Christmas tree smell. And that seems to be a big draw for customers to the Carolina sapphire. And we grow eastern red cedar, which is native to Arkansas. People would consider the old-fashioned Christmas tree. Out here, all the trees are still growing in the field. They're all going to be fresh cut. So the only thing really you have to be looking for is a tree that looks the best to you. And on a Christmas tree farm, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So whatever tree looks right for you is going to be the right tree. Leyland cypress probably has the longest shelf life if it's taken care of well, given plenty of water. All these trees, since they are fresh growing trees, they're all going to last well past Christmas. The number one thing is water. A tree has to have all the water it will drink. You should probably check it twice a day. Have a Christmas tree stand with a large reservoir that holds a lot of water. The main thing is not let the tree ever go dry once you move it in the house.
After the break, I'll show you how to make this fragrant homemade bath blend, so stay tuned. A great gift idea for the holidays is to make homemade bath salts. It's really easy to do. Simply combine 1 cup of fine sea salt and 1/4 cup of dried herbs with 1/4 cup of coarse sea salt into a food processor. It's best to use fragrant herbs such as lavender or mint. Here we used mint. You'll want to blend this in the food processor for about a minute on high, which will produce a fine powder. Then pour the blended mixture into a sandwich bag and add about 1/4 cup of baking powder. Seal the bag and shake vigorously to mix all the ingredients together. Finally, take the contents of the bag and pour it into a decorative airtight container. Get really creative. You see, this will make a personal gift for someone very special. The holidays is a special time of year. I love all the sights, the sounds, and particularly the aromas. That's why I love fresh greenery, both inside and outside the home. Fresh greenery, whether it's cut from the garden or purchased, is a renewable resource and a quick way to infuse your home with that lovely holiday scent. Look for greenery from a reliable source that sustainably harvests select boughs rather than cuts a whole tree down. As you know, there are many ways to include fresh greenery in and around your home for the holidays. If you have a large table setting for your holiday gathering, try using a mantelpiece of fresh greenery in the center of your table. Some centerpieces can be too small. This is the perfect height and will delight your guests. Think about this. Garland made from fresh greenery can be used in a number of ways, down a staircase, on the mantel, or even on the outside as an entry accent. Decorating outdoors can sometimes be a little overwhelming, but you know, adding elements that contain fresh greenery to shutters, outdoor buildings, or even gates is a great way to apply these decorations. There's an abundance of ways to use fresh greenery for the holidays. Just use your imagination and have a little fun with it. We need to take another short break, but when we return, we'll see what's going on in Caleb's garden, so stay tuned. Now let's see how my web designer Caleb and his wife Caitlin are doing in their garden. You see, it's time to plant bulbs, and I think I might give them a hand. You've come a long way with all this.
I sure have.
And we've got bulbs going in. I see you've kept them in good form. Mm-hmm. So what's the plan here? We've got a couple hundred, and you've got 100 already planted here, and we've got another 100 here.
All right.
Good, that's super. Well, why don't I help you get them in the ground? These last few, what are you doing, planting them about, just packing them in like this?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's perfect, that works. You know, this is a great mid-season bloomer. I love tulips, and I just plant them every year. Daffodils come back year after year, and we've got a few daffodils to plant. I can see you kind of got them broken down into pockets here.
Right, I've got these in 25 bulbs in a pocket, and that's 100 bulbs for each side of the walk.
That's going to be spectacular. So we'll have 200 bulbs leading people right up to the front door.
That's right.
Those flowers are going to be gorgeous. This is a really bright red, as you know, so it ought to make quite a statement.
Now, I haven't put water or anything on these. Is there anything I should be doing?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think you need to worry about it. We're going to get plenty of rain this fall, and they'll get moisture. I do want to make sure that you're mixing plenty of this soil mix in with your existing soil we put back in here, because it's just going to enrich the beds, and it really serves you well over time, no matter what you plant in these beds. Now, I noticed you also picked up some hyacinths and some daffodils, and I've got a couple ideas on those. So why don't we scoot over here and let me show you what I'm talking about. So see, you got your hyacinths here, and I like this color a lot. It's Odysseus. I'm glad you were able to find it. What I'd like to see you do here, Caleb, is we've got that catnip here, and work these hyacinths in kind of in this zone and keep them very concentrated like we've been doing with the tulips, because I think you get more visual impact that way. And the other thing that's so great about hyacinths, they're fragrant, so I think you're going to enjoy the aroma coming and going from the front door. And then this bag of pipit daffodils that I brought over, this is a sort of a smaller version of daffodil. It only gets to about 16 inches tall. What I'd like to do is plant them underneath this tree, just naturalize them in the lawn.
Okay.
They're small, and I think that it'll be a charming effect, and again, it will feel like this cottage, have a kind of cottage feel, and you would have seen this kind of thing in houses of this age around 1930, kind of planted out in the lawn, so it'd be a good effect. And you'll just plant these just as the directions indicate, but just directly in the turf, and they'll come up through the turf just as they will in these beds.
And when you say plant these in the turf, what does that mean exactly?
You can use an auger or bore a hole or even just drive a spade in. These aren't very large bulbs, and what you want to do is you always want to plant them 3 times, cover the soil over them, 3 times the width of the bulb. So you can see the width between my fingers there is how wide it is. So 3 times that is how much soil you want over them. You can put it right in the turf, and then these little guys will push their way right up through the grass. And what you'll have to do is let them bloom and let the foliage persist for about 8 weeks, meaning you'll have to kind of mow around this area, and then once they begin to die back, you can mow it off. Yeah. Now with all these bulbs you're planting, I can't wait to see this place in the spring.
Right.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to work. Good job. I can't tell you how many requests I've gotten from people who are asking the question, how do I keep greenery fresh through the holidays? There's nothing quite like the aroma and look of fresh holiday greenery. Some of my favorites are boughs of pine, cedar, and spruce, along with mistletoe and boxwood. But you know, once it's cut, there's some things you can do that can make it last much longer. The first thing I do is recut the stems and soak the greenery in water overnight. I even completely submerge garlands and wreaths. If you don't have a galvanized tub, just do it in your bathtub. In keeping greenery fresh, it's all about maintaining moisture in the stems and foliage of the plant. Now let's say you want to create some kind of an arrangement where the stems will be actually placed in water or some sort of floral foam. You'll want to recut the stems once more. By adding some glycerin to the water, you'll find that this will keep the needles soft and pliable and actually make the greenery last longer. Now if you do this, you want to be generous. I recommend 1 part glycerin to 1 part water, and you can pick up glycerin at your local drugstore. Now an additional way to keep moisture in the foliage is to spray the greenery with an anti-transpirant. Now you can pick this up at your local garden center. This helps hold the moisture in and will make your greenery look fresher longer throughout the holidays. Well, I hope this helps. Good luck. After this quick break, I'll meet you in the kitchen to make this easy orange marmalade cake. Stay tuned. I want to share with you an idea that I came up with after making lots and lots of marmalade. It's a marmalade cake, and really it's about the assembly that I think is so much fun. What you want to start with are 3 yellow cakes. Now you can use a cake mix. You may have a favorite yellow cake recipe. Just use that, and what you want to do is just bake 3 of them, and you can see I've done that, and I've just shaved off the top because this one got a little tall. You want to level them off because this is a layer cake. And what I'm going to do here is start with a concoction of a French orange liqueur called Cointreau. I used 1/4 of a cup to 1 pint of the marmalade, and I just warmed it up in the microwave because I think it goes on the cake much better that way. It begins to sort of seep down in the cake itself. So what you want to do is you want to put a layer of this on first and be generous with it. Spread it evenly across the cake. And then what I do is use some mascarpone cheese. This is that lovely sweet Italian cheese, and I used 2 8-ounce packs of this, and I let it rest at room temperature for several hours. It was still a little stiff and difficult to apply. So what I did was mixed it with just a little bit of honey to soften it. So you just want to apply it to the cake like this. Be generous with it because it's very good. And it's all right if it mixes in with the marmalade. This adds to the flavor, the creativity of making this. All right, then what you want to do is take some of these almond slivers and do a layer of the almond like this. And then to give it just a fresh taste, I love these little tangerines sliced, and I just take them and lay them across the cake. This adds such a nice freshness. All right, so there you have it, one layer. Then the next thing you want to do is just take your next cake, lay it on here, and repeat this practice. Now for the top of the cake, what I do is I just put on the marmalade and Cointreau. I don't use the mascarpone, and I apply the almonds. And then you can take these sliced tangerines and just do some sort of beautiful design with them around the edges. Now one other thing to think about is just take a brush, and you can brush the sides of the cake so that the cake itself, the layer cakes, don't dry out. And I tell you, I love to serve this with hot tea and whipped cream with this. It's just a great dessert any time of year. It's really light and fresh. Give it a try. Well, I'm going to check on things in the greenhouse. We managed to cover a lot of decorating in today's show. And don't forget about that marmalade cake. You'll love it. You can find the recipe and all the information in today's show on my website, pallensmith.com. Until next time, have a great one. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
In this garden I dream of a bed of flowers. Bluebirds sing of the beauty all around us. And every time the sun comes out, I can't help but smile. Oh, no, I can't help but smile.